What role should government play in promoting entrepreneurship? I remember reading a book titled, Boulevard of Broken Dreams, Josh Lerner, and would definitely recommend the same to fellow entrepreneurs, at least those who are interested in understanding the government's role in entrepreneurship. My answer, undoubtedly, will be reflective of the key findings from the same. I guess the objective of the question is to find out the how-tos for the government than suggesting the ubiquitous plain vanilla option of to stay out of the business. Ironically, I do support the same to an extent, but then let's focus on other much vital aspects. If everything feels silk about the Silicon Valley, then that's because of the support it received from the government during its infancy. It was government which kept it going for the first 12 to 15 years of its life. Likewise, it happened for modern innovation centers like Tel Aviv and Singapore. Yet, the role of government is less understood is because for every public intervention that spurs entrepreneurial activity, there are many failed efforts that waste untold billions in taxpayer money. Entrepreneurs follow their own clan, and it is much easier to see a ghetto effect happening where entrepreneurship is successful. Each and every stakeholder in this business gains from peer-to-peer effect. It is in these types of settings that the government can play a role of catalyst. In Lerner's word, for example, the Small Business Investment Company (SBIC) program in the United States led to the formation of the infrastructure for much of the modern venture capital industry. Many of the early venture capital funds and leading intermediaries in the industry, such as law firms and data providers, began as organizations oriented to the SBIC funds, and then gradually shifted their focus to independent venture capitalists. Similarly, public programs played an important role in triggering the explosive growth of virtually every other major venture market around the globe. Government's policy can either, 1. Ensure the conduciveness of the environment for entrepreneurial and investment activity, or 2. Directly invest in companies and fund. But, both of the above requires careful execution and planning, for which could be done in partnership with successful entrepreneurs or public-private partnership. You can't expect a person who has worked all his life in a 9-to-5 schedule without any lateral thinking to, actually, formulate entrepreneurial policy. In Lerner's word, decisions that seem plausible within the halls of a legislative body or a government bureaucracy can be wildly at odds with what entrepreneurs and their backers really need. And second challenge comes in the form of government's policy being hijacked by its own cronies for an individual's benefit. Bureaucracy. When it comes to entrepreneurship, we mean, to boost the economy of the nation by means of innovation and by creating more jobs, which are primarily by small and medium companies growing into big enterprises. It is the process of these small startups company growing that creates more jobs, and a workshop-based enterprise becomes a gigantic multinational company. The following are what the government can do to promote entrepreneurship in India. 1. Ease of enter and exit. More permissions, confusing regulations and expensive registrations inhibits growth of company. Rather, they should enhance and encourage competition amongst the foreign players, which enhances growth and productivity among the local players. By doing this, new and innovative entities come in and drive out old ones, social presence is increased, and enterprises flourish their social status in the nation. Also, by any reason the startup decides to shut down its operations, the exit should be eased and burden-free. Rather than being trapped by the regulations, they can use that productivity to build a new product. 2. Accesses to input and output markets. This generally means that the government should ensure that the startup has the ability to sell its product widely into domestic as well as international market easily. Easy accesses to market is always encouraged. Also, providing decent infrastructure which promotes easy access to market. For example, somebody wants to set a dairy startup in a remote village, but there is no access to market, like improper road connectivity, improper or unreliable logistics system, or crossing of toll roads to reach the market. Such are inhibitors and get enterprise disconnected to the physical market and eventually leads to closure. 3. Predictable system of taxation of both personal wealth and the company. In order to expand the capabilities of the company, ease of taxes and regulations should be encouraged. Allow and aid the company to flourish initially and then charge taxes on the profit. 4. broad access to capabilities and abilities, allowing the middle class to be well equipped with resources and funding, providing them the capacity to start and having one system or law in place for all the startup to register and function independently. 5. Encouraging risk-taking, the belief that only those who have money power have the ability to enhance social improvement, should not be encouraged. Rather focus on uplifting its people to become more successful by creating more jobs and encouraging individual effort towards social improvement. Through the education curriculum, government could promote entrepreneurship as opposed to creating a skilled workforce for employment. This is a factor that impacts on the number of people willing to venture into enterprise. Another role is promoting entrepreneurship by stipulating quotas for small businesses when it comes for public government procurement. I know this works for the SBA in the US, and in Kenya where I am from a recent presidential policy directive ordered that 30% of all government tenders should be awarded to young entrepreneurs.